People thought I was crazy for leaving the US in 2020, but what they didn't know was that staying would have cost me everything. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you how I almost lost everything, but I gained so much more by doing the thing that terrified me the most. Welcome to the channel. My name is Ashley. On this channel, Ashley in Africa, you can see me living, moving, and doing business across the continent of Africa. I share my journey of moving from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to South Africa, Johannesburg, now Cape Town, and what it's been like, what it's taken me to persevere, the challenges that I've experienced, the scrutiny, the public opinions, and everything in between. But I've been able to be resilient and share it with you. So if this type of content resonates with you, be sure to like the video and share it if you feel compelled to do so. This is a different background than my last few videos. Most of those videos I was up against a wall, literally. I almost lost everything, and it was now so worth it. I can see I'm living in my dream city, in my dream apartment, doing the dream work and inspiring people along the way. And I want to share with you that it wasn't always like that, right? Where did I start? 2020, this time 2020, I was preparing myself to make a life-changing decision, and I'm so glad that I did. So you might hear the girls in the background, they're home. It's Friday, we're in our new place. We've been here for a week now, and that's been a hectic story that I will share in a different video if you like. But for now, I'm gonna share essentially what I gained by making this move, and to let you know that you can do it too. And I will share with you how I can help you do that by the end of the video if you're interested to learn more. So I have my notes and let's jump into it. So people thought I was crazy for leaving the US in 2020. But what they didn't know was that staying would have cost me everything. And this is the truth of why I moved to the continent of Africa and how it gave me back peace. It gave me a lifestyle that I didn't know that I needed. And it gave me ultimately back my power. So 5 years ago, I was recovering, right? Or like just coming out of severe burnout, severe anxiety, and severe depression. And what I've learned along this journey is that 70 to 90%, right, of African Americans are struggling with a mental illness, most closely identified as anxiety and depression. This was prior to COVID. It was like 75%. Now, obviously, it seems to be more. And I was one of those. I was on medication, in severe therapy, and I was struggling. I was struggling in silence for a lot longer than I was struggling in out loud. And that out loud struggle showed me, one, nothing was going to change until I made a change. And that was the moment that I knew I had to make a change, and I had to change my environment. I was living in an environment that was bringing me dis-ease. It was bringing me pain. It was bringing me chaos. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was being called to do more. And because I wasn't living in alignment with my values, it was creating the chaos and disease in my life. How many of you are experiencing chaos and you just don't know why? You're exhausted. Everything feels like enough is enough, right? You're doing all the things, you're checking all the boxes, you're making the money, you're living in the house, but it doesn't feel full. Well, now we're starting to see the veil being removed, right? The veil was slowly being pulled back in my season of making this decision, but I feel like it's so glaringly clear that no matter what you do and how much you do of it, there is always going to be another goalpost and another goalpost and another goalpost. If that's you, right? Some people, you may not be experiencing that, and that's great, and I celebrate that. But for those that are, they're looking for alternative destinations. And, you know, the challenge was I didn't have a plan. I just knew that there was more for me and I needed to completely do something different. I didn't know what that looked like. There was no plan, there was no roadmap. I just had a knowing. I just knew something is off and I need to experience something different in this moment. I didn't think it was going to be permanent. But it wasn't until I got on the plane and headed to East Africa, Tanzania, and spent a month there that I knew my life would be changed forever. And that experience reignited a creativity, a clarity, a consciousness, and a knowing that, oof, this was what I've been waiting for my entire life. I still wasn't quite sure how it was gonna look. But in those moments, the immediate benefit was I was now able to disconnect from a world that had been bringing me dis-ease and reconnect with a world that was natural, that was closer to the origin story, closer to the origination of our practices and our connection with land and our connection with each other. And I know that sounds like a lot of woo-woo, but ultimately I decided I'm not going to work. I'm going to take my investment, I'm gonna take my savings, I'm gonna take these benefits that are coming through as my reparations to pause, be present, and persevere my nervous system. And I was able to do that because I was now living in an environment where the dollar was really strong. And I was able to live my $5,000 lifestyle. I mean, it was more like $10,000 in the US, and it wasn't the same lifestyle, but I was able to live so much better off of so much less. And that is when everything changed. And my nervous system thanked me. I came back to myself. I came back to who I'd always wanted to be and who I knew I could be for not only myself, but my children. And 5 years later, they have the best version of me that I could have ever imagined. And now living in my dream city, in my dream country, on my dream continent, doing my dream work, changed everything. Changed who I am, changed my friendships, changed my relationships, changed my business. The power of change is transformative. And everybody won't do it, and it isn't for everybody. I will tell you, I have been through some changes in this past week, literally, physically, and spiritually. No longer accepting what doesn't serve me, whether it's a space, whether it's a person, family or not, whether it's a client, whether it's a diet, a practice. What doesn't serve me at this level is no longer allowed in my space. And that's what I'm teaching not only myself, but my children at the same time, teaching them that, you know, accountability is the basis of love. And that shows up in how we ultimately are accountable to ourselves. If we say we're gonna do something, we do it. If we say we're gonna start that business, we do it. If we say we're gonna launch that product, we do it. If we say we're going to show up, we do it. And that's a level of clarity that I haven't experienced until now. And it was, it was painful. It has been powerful though. And all of this has led me to create and launch the Africa Relocation Roadmap, which is a tool that I wish I would have had, because over 50% of people that make this move will fail. And it's closer to, I think it's like 75 to 90%. And they'll fail, not because they didn't have the good intentions, not because they didn't have the money, but because one of the things that they don't have that is so important is strategy. And strategy is layered. It's not only your financial strategy, but it's your integration strategy. It's your communication strategy. It's your community strategy. And going into something so powerful, so transformative as a move to another country, on another continent with a different culture, without strategy, you're bound to fall for everything. And I created the thing that I wish I would have had, which is the Africa Relocation Roadmap. It's free. It's a tool that's free. The link is in the description. It's my love letter to myself 5 years ago, the thing that I wish I would have had, the community that I wish I would have had, the support that I wish I would have had, the strategy that I wish I would have had. And we are giving you step-by-step protocol as to what you can do along the way to not only be successful in your move, but to ultimately build wealth. Now, to connect with the community, of course, there's an enrollment. But for people that are enrolling this month, the month of August, for my birthday celebration and celebrating the number 5 everywhere in so many ways, of years on the continent and just time in business, and yeah, that powerful number that resonates so in so many places in my life, we're launching a founder special, right? But for those that don't want to join, you're welcome to use the value of the roadmap as it is. I mean, there's so much value once you land on the page for people that are interested in moving to the continent, that don't know where to start, that want to know, you know, the number 2 questions. The 2 questions that I get asked the most is, what country is best for me and how much money do I need? And these 2 major questions, you can answer them by visiting africarelocationroadmap.com. It is my love letter to you, and I hope it's helpful for you. I know that this content is valuable for you, and you found it for a reason. And if you've been carrying the quiet question of, can I really do this? The answer is yes, but it's gonna cost you. And it's gonna cost you everything that you've worked hard for. It's going to cost you a new mindset shift into doing something that could terrify you. And it's gonna cost you repositioning what your world could look like despite everything you were told it was gonna be. The cost of your new life is the old one. And if you're willing to take that chance, we wanna welcome you inside the community. Continue watching this content. If you value it, share it with someone who would benefit from it. And until the next video, I'll see you soon.